Your LangChain agent just confidently told a user that a refund was processed, cited a policy that doesn't exist, and invented an order number out of thin air. Sound familiar? Hallucination isn't some rare edge case you can patch away. For a lot of agent builds, it's baked into the architecture from the start. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Your agent isn't lying because the model is dumb. It's hallucinating because you've given it too much freedom and not enough structure. A typical LangChain React agent works by looping through thought, action, observation. The model decides what to do next based entirely on its own reasoning trace. And when that trace gets long, noisy, or ambiguous, the model does what language models do best. It fills the gaps with plausible-sounding fiction. Let's get concrete. Say you build a customer support agent with 3 tools: a database lookup, an email sender, and a knowledge-based search. The user asks about their order. The agent calls the database, gets a partial or empty result, and instead of stopping, it reasons. The order was likely shipped, so I'll tell the customer it's on the way. Nobody told it to invent that, but the prompt gave it a goal, some tools, and total autonomy over how to chain them. When the real data is missing, the path of least resistance is to make something up that satisfies the goal. The deeper problem is context contamination. In a single agent loop, everything shares one context window: the system prompt, every tool output, every intermediate thought, and the ballooning conversation history. By step 8 or 9, the model is drowning in its own scratch work. It starts confusing what it observed with what it hypothesized, treating as speculative the customer probably wants X from 3 steps ago as an established fact. That's not a knowledge failure. It's a working memory failure. So does CrewAI fix it? Partially, and the reason is architectural, not magical. CrewAI's whole premise is role separation. Instead of one agent juggling everything, you define specialized agents: a researcher, a validator, a writer, each with a narrow role, its own backstory, and a tightly scoped task. When you split responsibilities, you also split context. The validator agent doesn't inherit the researcher's messy reasoning trace. It receives a clean, structured handoff. That containment alone kills a huge class of hallucinations, because no single agent is holding enough ambiguity to drift. CrewAI also nudges you toward explicit task definitions with expected outputs. When you write a task that says, return the order status as one of shipped, pending, or not found, you're constraining the output space. A React agent left to freeform its way to an answer will happily produce prose. A CrewAI task with a defined expected output and a Pydantic schema will fail loudly when the data isn't there, instead of quietly inventing it. That difference between failing loud and failing plausible is the entire game. But let's be honest about the limits. CrewAI does not fix hallucination. It reduces the surface area for it. Every individual agent inside a crew is still an LLM that will fabricate if you give it a vague task and no grounding. If your researcher agent has web access but no instruction to cite sources, it'll hallucinate citations just like a lone LangChain agent would. The framework gives you better guardrails, but you still have to install them. Tool outputs as the source of truth, verification steps, structured schemas, and a validator whose only job is to say prove it. So the framework isn't a cure, it's a discipline. LangChain gives you a flexible chainsaw. CrewAI hands you a jig that keeps your cut straight. If your agents keep hallucinating, don't just swap frameworks and hope. Decompose the task, isolate the context, constrain the outputs, and force verification. Do that, and you'll cut hallucinations dramatically no matter which tool you're holding. Get grounding right first, and the framework debate mostly takes care of itself.